Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us as we dive back into tonight's adventure, episode 17, To Borrow a Barrow. We rejoin the party, having gained entry to the Forgotten Fae Barrow outside of the town of Saren. They have stepped through a magical pool thanks to fairy crowns upon their heads, and now they have entered into a beautiful and sumptuous grotto, lit as though for a spring night, and filled with the small dancing fireflies and fairy lights. As you rejoin them, Calvin, our intrepid artificer, has stepped through the portal that sits in front of them at the edge of the pool, and as in doing so, steps out into what could easily be the manor of some, country noble, their summer house. Everything is tasteful and well-designed, furniture and this thick carpet in this deep green as though someone has spread leaves across the ground. Everything has a natural feel to it, though. Several of the pieces of furniture take the shapes of animals, or sort of in mid-stride, there's a chair that looks like an elk, and you would sit along its back as though it is running through the forest. There is a number of smaller stools and pillows that all look like plush versions of large toadstools. And above you, the large chandelier that seems to hang with lights, it looks as though a tree has grown out of the ceiling and is simply hanging down over you, with the little fairy lights trapped inside of the branches. And so the whole thing is tasteful, beautiful, and sumptuous. And definitely out of place, considering this is supposed to be an abandoned Fae Barrow that was destroyed many years ago by the soldiers of Rion.
Side note, as soon as everyone's through, I'm going to leave the villagers in that pool room and follow everyone else.
I feel like Calvin walks through the archway and just kind of like leans and just goes, "Hello?"
As you're leaving and you say hello, you also hear Amalia sort of behind you, towards sort of looking to you, Flip, being like, "Do we just stay here?"
I think that's probably best. Let the five of us spearhead things, and you can kind of whatever the term, follow along. As we figure things out.
That seems wise.
Maybe out of the view of the water in case Ormond shows up on the other side so they don't see us or see you.
Who's Ormond?
The loud voice.
Nighthall, evil, should have been destroyed a while ago, but no one let me.
I see. Yes, I'll take the rest of the villagers and we'll just wait over here then.
You seem to have a good head on your shoulders.
I try.
And kind of give her like a wink finger.
And she steps out of the way from the pool over into like what part of the grotto, and they all sort of take a seat on the like thick moss and sort of look around. Several of them taking their packs off and taking out like food or water after the run through the forest. And you say hello as you're looking into the doorway. Your voice echoes into the chamber, and after a moment, you're still looking around. You wait, and you don't hear anything.
Can I look around and see if anything seems weird, out of place, people left in a rush?
Looking around, you don't see any signs of like dust or debris or anything like that, which you'd expect from a place that had been long abandoned. You do see that there is a tea service that has been set out that looks actually like little tiny flowers, except for in ceramics, on one of the tables right in the center of this room. And there's definitely enough to have served probably like a small party of people, probably like in the 10 to 15 range as you look around. There's even still a little bit of heat rising from one of the glasses as you look, or one of the cups as you look at them.
Would enough time have passed for me to like get to where Calvin is?
Yeah, so you would have stepped into the room and looked at it.
I feel like I just like lean like behind Calvin and just I'm like, "What are you looking at?" in your ear while you're like intensely looking around.
Well, it looks like people were here not too long ago because like their tea is still warm, but like they're not here, so like I don't know. I don't really know Fae, but that sounds kind of like a Fae thing.
You're not wrong. I mean, they kind of just do what they want when they want, so they're probably around here somewhere as I like kind of look around. When I get to the room, is there like a clear door out, or is it just like a dead end?
So you see the windows to either side, which look like because it looked like they're looking out on fields that are like nice and green, and there's some trees in the distance on both sides. Just ahead of you, there is a doorway that is closed, but is made of like a thick, dark, almost purplish wood. That's just dead ahead of you on the other side of the room.
Continue on then.
I mean, that's why we're here, right?
And that was the only way out of the like pool chamber, right? Was this through this archway?
Yeah, so the tunnel that would have led you back towards the surface when you were on the other side of the pool was gone. Instead, the tunnel, it almost looked like the archway had simply moved to the other side of the room.
I'm gonna go up to the purple door and like very like not like bang on it, but like respectfully knock on the door.
So and as you do, you hear a voice that come from the center of the room that just says, "I wouldn't go in there just yet if I were you." And as you hear the voice, you all try to turn. Now there is the figure that you saw before in the knightly suit is sitting at one of the chairs, sort of leaning back on it, one arm resting on one of the toadstool cushions, and has a cup of tea.
I will give a little bow and just be like, our apologies. I'm so sorry. We thought that maybe no one was here.
Under normal circumstances, you'd be correct. I wouldn't normally be here. But then again, more importantly is the question, what are you doing here?
Oh, we're just hoping to pass through. There might be a portal here that we could use to jump to another portal to not be at this portal.
And
We are leading refugees away from the nearby town. We were abducted from our homes and taken to this place. Well, not this place, the town that we left.
They wouldn't happen to be scaly fellows, would they?
No, we killed those.
We're trying to leave those behind.
Good show. I'm here myself as a response to their presence. We'd closed this particular Barrow down quite a bit ago as a result of some unpleasantness with the locals and relocated, but it seems somebody's been making use of my pool, and so I returned here to take matters into my own hands. I assume since you're still looking for it, it was not you.
We only just arrived maybe an hour ago.
Good.
I assume it was the pitmaster who came to see who was snooping around the entrance. If it was, then your problem has been dealt with.
Well, unlikely, considering a number of creatures have already stepped through my portal.
Oh.
And steps have been taken to make it difficult for me to step through myself. Although perhaps that's where you come in.
And how might we address you, by the way?
Good manners. I appreciate that. You can call me Knight Rowan. Your lord is also sufficient.
And you can call me Flip. And I'll give him like a curt, polite little bow.
Charmed, I'm certain. Would you care for a cup of tea?
I don't believe I'll be dining at this time, but it seems we might have a mutually beneficial arrangement to come to.
I do so like those. Yes, you see, I came here through my own magics to take a better look at the pool, as one of our seers warned me there was something unusual happening with our network of portals. As you can imagine, they are very important for us. And I normally wouldn't share these details, but several of the ladies of our court are quite fond of the Verdant. And we haven't known them to be unwise with the secrets of nature. Somebody is using our portal, and I was hoping to get into that room to look at it, but someone's also taken the precautions of making sure Faye can't enter.
Well, that's just rude.
Indeed, imagine coming into my home and then making it impossible for me to enter as well.
We'll definitely help you then.
What would need to be
Balance all
done
in.
to allow you entry?
They've mocked it with a number of glyphs in a silver and iron composite. If you could remove the glyphs, I would be free to more readily bring my powers to bear.
I believe we'd be willing to help you, as if I suspect we have a mutual enemy in common in this case. On
Yes.
that note, afterwards, would we be able to use this or another portal to return closer to where we came? One of the refugees we brought with us knows a ritual to take us to another Barrow, and our friend here is familiar with one close by.
Andrew, is it?
Is that his name? Like, Thorn's gonna look to Valen. Is that his name?
Is it?
A local druid?
Is
Just a
Oh!
big chap about
He is the druid, not...
so high.
It's
What's his name, Andrew?
No, it's his son and daughter. Andrew's
Not...
the old druid, but he's not here anymore.
Oh,
It's the child.
of course. I do tend to lose track of mortal years from time to time. They are a little bit different.
Of
Understandable.
So yes, if you can help us take care of this snake infestation and allow us to reseal this Barrow as it should remain unsullied, I feel amenable to allowing you to use the portal. What more, in my gracious nature, I feel happy to help you find an appropriate portal for you to teleport to. But I take your binding oath that from the moment you leave my Barrow, you will not speak of it again, and I will be expecting the same of those that are with your party.
Thorn's gonna look to the other group and say, I would be amenable to such a deal. I am not in the habit of giving away information readily.
So, like, do you mean that we can't talk about it, like, at all? Like, I can't tell Marge, like, how we got home?
You will find that it would be quite impossible to give any specific details. You
We
may let
can-
somebody know that you used Fey magic to move around, but you won't be able to tell them the specifics. As you can imagine, we like to keep those things discreet.
We won't be able to tell them where it is so that they might use it.
Mm,
Deal.
No one can retrace our steps. This
indeed.
is a secret I'm happy to keep.
Sounds like a fine deal to me.
I
I'm
do
sure
like
the
that.
villagers will have no issue with it either. They're happy to be god of this place. Rion is difficult.
So glad you are amicable to this plan. I had so worried I was going to have to do something unfortunate to you if you were with the serpents.
Well, lucky for us that we were not on their side.
Lucky for all of us. I would have had to.
You have no idea how often I share that sentiment. Sorry, Evan, go ahead.
I would have hated to have to do something drastic.
We've
No
had
time
enough
like the
drama
present
for one day.
would lead the way.
Oh, I can't leave this particular chamber, unfortunately. The glyphs start on the other side of that door. That's why I said you wouldn't want to go in there just yet.
Cool. I'll get rid of them. I have stuff, and can only jangle his bag.
I do so appreciate somebody who comes prepared.
Does the door open?
If you actually try the handle of the door, it does and clicks open for you and opens onto a chamber that like sort of rolls down. It is a little bit unusual for you. If you've ever watched the like old cartoon Alice in Wonderland, it is a natural stone tunnel, but in random places on the wall, there's just cutouts of what would be like a proper British like garden home. So randomly there'll be like a wall with a painting on it. And then the wall will just sort of recede into natural moss and dirt. And then a couple feet later, there'll be like a single chair on like a little bit of tile. And it sort of plop, plop, plop all the way down the tunnel at odd points. Especially in particular, there's a small window at one point that you can see is open and you can feel like a warm breeze blowing through. out onto like a mountainside.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for silver iron composite glyphs as we.
So opening the door, if you like take a quick look behind you, do see that there is one someone has carved into the back of the door itself.
I'll pop it out of place.
Give me an Arcana check if you want to figure out like what you would do about it.
9.
You look at the glyph itself, and somebody has carved essentially into the material of the door, and then it looks like they have either like painted on or poured while still hot, like some kind of molten metal to fill in the grooves. So you're not quite sure what you would, and then the whole thing glitters with this pale silver light, and you're not sure exactly what you'd have to do to remove them, unfortunately.
Looking past the door, are there more glyphs, or is this the only one?
That's the only one you see on this door. I will say that you only can see a little bit of you see some of the tunnel going down, but at the edge of your dark vision, it does go dark.
I'm just gonna cast Dispel Magic on it.
Okay, yeah, if you want to
Good
just
idea.
roll the Dispel Magic for me.
That was my idea. That or remove the door.
It's out of a scroll, so I'm not sure if it uses my.
Let's use yours for this purpose.
Okay, so I just make a.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure D&D just gets rid of the whole concept of having to worry about the spell levels.
I actually can't cast a spell because I'm not a high enough level.
I believe it's just your caster stat on a roll.
Does that include my proficiency?
Yes.
So I thought the spell was sort of like counterspell, where it was the same level or lower, it just happens, and if it was higher,
yes, and you have to roll it if there's something bigger.
Something higher, yes. For each spell of 4th level or higher, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. So yes. And the DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. So how many checks would you like me to make?
Give me 2 checks.
2 checks at +6. The first one is a 14.
Okay.
And the second one is a 22.
So you take a moment, you start to cast the spell, and you feel it kind of charge through you, and you press your hand against the glyph itself. And after a moment, you see the glyph it sort of shivers under your hand, and the metal within it starts to slowly melt as though it suddenly turns liquid and just rolls down the door. And as it hits the ground, like hot bits of metal. And after a moment, the carved into the doorway have faded away and there's just normal carvings. And then a minute later, you see the doorway start to grow again as like green vines reach out of the door around where the glyph was and reseal up until the wood just fades back into normal.
Good job, Calvin.
Yeah! I can't do that again, though, because that was a scroll.
Let's hope that there's not more, or there is another way to deal with them.
That's an excellent start. I can feel it weakening already.
Thorn's gonna start down the tunnel.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone's going to head down the tunnel with Thorn?
Yeah, I'm gonna head down. Definitely. Yeah, exactly.
I will cast light on something because I'm assuming it'll get dark at some point and I won't be able to see.
Yeah, so the tunnel itself seems to be dark, and then as you're walking down it, you're going for a decent amount of time. Like, there's a good, 15, 20 minutes of you just walking down this tunnel, and like I said, it's a natural stone and earthen tunnel. Like, the floor beneath you is earthen, and the walls have little bits of, roots and things growing out of them. There's some moss growing along parts of it, in particular, big, thick swashes. And then just randomly here and there are things that you would, like I said, you would find out of place. There's this beautiful marble statue of what looks to be a Ashahai, woman, frozen mid-pose, that has a little bit of the moss growing over it. You see, like I said, a couple of chairs, a table. You see a window. At one point, you see this very elaborate what looks to be like part of a candelabra, like growing out of the wall itself, with little candles all lit on it. So there's points where you reach light, but then when you're in between those points, it is dark.
Would I recognize the Ashahai woman as like anyone important historically, or like a recognizable figure?
It's just a person. Yeah, it's artistic representation. You mostly just know it's Ashahai because someone has gone to the effect of giving features that are very like sharp and narrow with the pointed ears and things like that, but they're not as exaggerated as you've seen on the Fae beings that you've depicted so far. As you continue down, sort of eyes scanning back and forth, as you see a lot of like weird and unusual moments where it's all broken up, and then you finally reach which you believe to be the end of the tunnel, as it is another doorway. This one is a large circular doorway, very like hobbit hole status, in a deep green that has a big giant knob right in the center.
I'm gonna try to open it.
You go to open the doorway, and as you do, and you realize that the door is like sealed or locked.
Who's good at breaking into things?
Does anyone have lockpicks?
Me!
Well, you also have guidance, because we need to get through this door.
Calvin, you look like you could steal things. Open this door.
That
Or
was
not.
terrible. 12.
So you go to put your lockpicks in, and you... No. It does not unlock.
Can I try again? Or is it broken?
You did not break it.
Hold on. Never mind, bless doesn't apply here. Go on.
But you can have guidance again, as you get another ghost daughter.
That's much better. Oh, that's super good. 27.
So you the lockpicks into the lock, and you feel after a second as the lockpick tickles the tumblers and seems to come undone. After a moment, you look up, and you can see that in the large knob, two little eyes pop open in the metal, and you see the keyhole that you were on just kind of go, and it stretches out as it lets out a yawn. Like, and you have you still have the lockpicks like in the keyhole as it yawns, and it goes.
I just want to say, I did not sign up for Totemop to write this adventure.
I'm into it. Keep going. Take him out of his mouth. I want to hear what this doorknob has to say.
Seriously, this is some like Alice in Wonderland Labyrinth shit. I'm here for it.
Calvin, take them out. He's trying to talk.
Calvin will take the lockpick out.
Where do you keep those things? Those taste terrible.
They live in the little pouch.
Ugh. Do any of you have a mint or something?
Oh, our apologies.
I have a sprig of mint.
That would do.
And Thorn will feed it to the lock.
And the lock, and you just see it sort of disappear into the lock. Oh. Ugh, how rude. You didn't even say hello.
I mean, we tried to open you.
Well, I have been sleeping, obviously.
I'm sorry, where we are from, doorknobs are not in the habit of conversation.
I can see that.
Twitter's gotten really close to the doorknob.
Knight Rowan has asked us to enter here so that we might remove the glyphs keeping them out.
Rowan! Haven't seen him in ages. Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be a problem for me.
Oh, and why is that?
I've been spelled to not allow entry unless you have been given permission.
Who do we need permission from?
That is a need-to-know basis.
Do they have pink hair?
That is a need-to-know basis.
Well, we know someone with pink hair.
Do they don't not have pink hair.
Well, what if I were to tell you that we were personal guests of this person up until about an hour ago?
Mm-mm, you're on the list.
But did you check?
I did.
I'm gonna cast
I
Identify on the lock.
You have to touch the lock to do so. Do you do that?
Correct. Yes.
So you like put your hand onto the lock, casting Identify, and he goes, personal space, excuse me.
Sorry. But no, and Calvin's just gonna keep holding.
So you cast Identify without his consent, by the way. In doing so, you are informed that this lock is a sentient lock. It is animated to be able to respond, and its job is to basically, it functions as the interface for a glyph of warding that protects the door.
Sorry, Flip. If I might ask, as a favor in kind for the Mint, would I be able to open the door from the other side, as I would already have entry?
Oh, that's not my department. You have to talk to her if you want to open the door. My sister on the other side, Gladys.
And is she similarly spelled?
I don't know. We haven't talked in a while. We don't really see eye to eye.
And
that's such a shame.
Forgive me. On the other side of Gladys, there is floor, I assume.
Floor?
Like it's not a bottomless pit at the other end of the door, yes?
That would be very poor design.
Unless you are intending to trap somebody. Needless to say, I may have a way through the door. This may not work, in which case I will be stuck on the other side of the door. And Thorn is going to cast Misty Step to go basically right on the other side of the door.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Some Nightcrawler bullshit.
Does Misty Step require sight?
It says you have to see every space you can see, but with other teleportation spells, and I know we've done this in the past, like if you know logically, like I'm just going opposite the door.
Dimension Door specifically says a point that you can perceive or think of.
Yeah, but Misty Step specifically says an unoccupied space that you can see.
I'm assuming we can't see through the keyhole. Is there like a crack
in the door? Can I see through the keyhole?
Make an investigation check.
We're just like all up in his mouth. Like, hold on.
I am terrible at this. Good. Here we go. Fuck me, 8.
No, so you go to look around. You don't notice any like discernible ways to see through the door. Can I?
Never mind then.
Can I help you? Because you're getting very close.
Forgive me. I have a teleportation spell that would allow me to help you help us help you, but I need to be able to see where I'm going.
Right.
Unless, of course, you're able to open your mouth wide enough that I could see to the other side.
I do not feel comfortable with that request.
I mean, I thought I could be going through the door, but I understand. I'm not traveling through your mouth.
Give me a persuasion check.
I am better at that, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is it? Natural 20, so 26.
Oh, okay. So it's like
Thorn's real fucking persuasive.
All right.
I feel like I lean down to Twin. I'm like, can Stalsered be doorknobs?
I mean, I've known some Stalsered that have doorknobs attached to them before.
I feel like Calvin jumps in with, I've known some Stalsered that are doorknobs. Not literally, but, metaphorically.
I could perhaps allow you to... I can't just open up without doing anything for you, but if Knight Rowan did send you, then, perhaps a small riddle. And if you can answer it, I'll help you help me help you help me.
Agreed. Speak your riddle.
All right. Let's see.
Do you just have a list of riddles, like just after?
I mean, I've had this problem before. Adagio and Allegro are a mystery to me. Tempo is a problem that I cannot see. Andante is perhaps an aria, I suppose. But at the end of the day, I'm just a tonal. What am I?
Not Thorn, but Joey to Evan. Can you say that one more time, but slower?
Adagio and Allegro are a mystery to me. I don't know Andante or Andante could be an aria, I suppose, but at the end of the day, I'm just a tonal. What am I?
Well, Flip should have the answer to this as the bard.
Flip is very specifically not a music
Okay, so here's my thing. I have drum proficiency, which means Thorn knows more about music than Joey does. What would I need to roll to know music things?
Thorn has drum proficiency.
I have drum proficiency.
Well, either of you, you can make me the drum roll. Flip, you can make me a performance roll if you're trying to think about like would a bard be able to figure out?
I have never once rolled an instrument, so it's proficiency plus what?
Proficiency plus, we'll say intelligence for this one.
So non-existent. Cool. Decent. 15.
Dirty 20 for
Dirty 20. You think about it for a second, and you think about those terms, and they've actually come up for you a couple times before, and you're like, well, Adagio means you play slowly, but Allegro means you play fast. Andante is something that you play at a walking pace. So this sounds like it's a riddle from someone who knows nothing about music, because you couldn't beat all those things at once. And like you're at the end of the day, you think atonal, and you're like, atonal is like a weird kind of music where you don't have no key can be established.
Just privately to Thorn, I'm just gonna turn and thinking back to, I assume I learned music at a young age and didn't really enjoy it, so kind of gave it up, and just be like, I think it might be tone deaf. That's the best I can come up with, because none of it makes sense. So I don't know.
Anyone else having any ideas?
the
Because I got
best I got.
nothing. Chase, you're the music person. You sing sometimes.
I was also in bed, and I'm really trying here. My first guess was a chord, but then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Then I'm like, well, you can have a key, like a key and a music, and we don't have a key to the door.
But if it's atonal, then there can't be a key.
So he doesn't have a key. There is no key.
What's a song without a key?
Let's have a key.
A monkey, a donkey, Rafiki,
Key.
Malarkey. I'm just saying words that have key in them. I like tone deaf better than any of my bullshit.
I'm pretty sure it's a note. Like a musical note.
All right. Roll an intelligence check for me. I'm going to give you a
Who?
hint. Whoever wants to roll an intelligence.
Not
Someone.
me.
Dirty 20.
Someone.
Dirty 20. If you were tone deaf and you were singing, what might you be?
Evan Martinez.
We are never getting through this fucking door.
I hope you're ready to die in this bar, motherfucker.
The lock just opens its mouth and an energy beam incinerates the party. Goodbye, just a little bit. We're done.
This game just ended with your fiery death.
I hope you have a backup character in mind.
So if we were tone deaf, we'd be bad singers. We'd be off key.
Off key.
Keyless.
Off key.
And that is
was
correct.
Not my fault. You picked a riddle that none of us knew any of the words in.
That was the point.
I was halfway there.
You were halfway there. I was just like, remember, it's a door. Think about a door. What would be relevant to a door?
When is a door?
Delano.
Delano. Oh, that should have been the answer to the riddle. The
You
doorway.
would have been able to get that one.
The doorway gives a little chuckle, like, and you can see it sort of like little key mouth move, like shake back and forth as it's laughing, and it goes, "That's correct. Although I'll have you know, I have an excellent singing voice, and I am never off key."
I am sure I do not share that quality, unfortunately.
So if
There's a reason I play drums.
yeah, no. So I'm gonna help me, and I'm gonna open my mouth.
I appreciate it greatly. It only needs to be for a moment. I need only be able to see where I am going.
Please don't put anything in my mouth. I do not give consent to that.
I am not going into your mouth.
I appreciate that. And so it,
So it's going to get down at eye level.
and its mouth opens like, and
Can I see through the other side of
you
the door?
can see the other side of the door. It looks surprisingly far away to you. Like as you're peering through it, there's like a good, like what seems to be almost like 10 feet of darkness until at the very end you can see a keyhole, and beyond it you can see what looks to be another room.
At that moment, Thorn's going to cast Misty Step to that point of light.
Yep. And
Thorn just vanishes in a snow flurry.
Yeah, you vanish in a snow flurry, and you see the snow and like fly off towards the mouth of the key. I heard don't put it in my mouth. As you go flying through his mouth, and you pop into appearance in the other room. Looking around, it is a small room. It's probably only about 10 feet around, circular, and there are a number of little statuettes and things inside little alcoves. And then there is another doorway that there's two doorways that go off to either side from this room, and then there's a doorway that you're standing in front of, which is another large circular door with a another panel right in this, or another knob right in the center.
So Thorn stands up and is going to tap next to the knob, not on the knob, and go, Gladys, are you there?
And like the doorknob like blinks open its eyes and goes, oh, oh, I wasn't sleeping. I was just resting my eyes. Can I help you with something?
Naturally. Yes, your brother on the other side sent me, and he has unfortunately been spelled to not allow the
Murphy sent you? Was it with an apology?
Yes.
I believe he'd be willing to apologize to you as soon as he's able to, but as I said, he's been magicked, so he may not speak with you.
Magic to not be able to apologize? That sounds like a likely story.
If it makes you feel any better, I had to trick him to get in here.
It does make me feel better, but it probably wasn't terribly hard.
Not really, I just had him open his mouth.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
He's real fussy about it anyway. Am I able to open the door from this side?
And like you can see the eyes give you a look up
already
and
been
down.
allowed entry.
I mean, that's not. I mean, I'm not responsible for keeping this door closed. That's not my problem.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gladys.
Absolutely.
You are my favorite. No, pardon me. And Thor's going to open the door.
Gentle. But you do, and the door opens, and it starts to slide forward. It slides open for you. And so a moment later, the door opens, and you can see Thor at like holding the side of the door, pulling it open to look out at you.
Hi, Thorn.
I'm so glad that worked. Thank you, Murphy. Also, when you're not spelled, your sister would like an apology.
Oh, she can have an apology over my dead body.
But you're not alive.
Semantics.
You two should really work this out.
Well, let's leave the knobs to their problems.
I would hate to see this splinter their relationship.
Thorn
And
closes the door in everyone's face and just walks on alone.
That's why Flip is the bard.
So you hear nothing. The knobs like go silent, and you look back at the door. Both of them, the eyes are closed, and they seem to have lost them. They have lost their animation.
Do we see any more iron, silver, rune magic?
Yeah, so there's two carved on either side, just behind, like where the two statues are, little art pieces. Just behind them, someone has carved them into the wall.
Can I give another Arcana check to see maybe there's a different way to get rid of them other than
Yes, you can
scrolls
definitely
that
give
I
me an
don't
Arcana
have?
check. You
Can
can give me
I
an Arcana check.
either help or Arcana check myself?
So you can choose to Arcana check yourself or try to help.
I think I'm going to specifically try to help Calvin since he.
You can have advantage on this, Calvin.
He already looked last time. And
As you put your heads together to think if there's anything else you can think about these like runes.
25.
Ooh, 25. So you think that someone's gone to a lot of trouble to carve them into the door. You most likely what would happen is if they were physically destroyed, that would disrupt whatever magic was left behind.
I'm gonna beat it.
I will help you with that. And Thorn's going to take the
roll.
other glyph from Calvin and
I'll just say if you want to just straight up roll some damage for me.
Lucretia!
8.
10. I rolled max damage.
You take Calvin, you take 3 points of thunder damage. As you hit the rune, it just gives out a little like boom of sound, and you kind of like have to like hold your ears. Thorn, you take 5, but as your weapon comes down, your rune shatters and falls to the ground in pieces. Calvin, yours is all cracked and busted looking, but it's still up.
Let me finish this.
You take 3 points of thunder damage as you hit it again, and it just lets out this cacophony, this boom, and several little bits of shards like spatter into your face as the wards break.
While Calvin's attacking the rune a second time, Thorn is going to lay on hands themselves.
Okay.
Thorn is going to touch themselves.
Sorry, Twid. You can break the next one.
Okay.
You know, maybe the next one's like on Orman.
As you are talking about that, you suddenly hear, well, that's a jolly good job. Excellent work. I do believe we should be done with this place in no time. Also, Gladys, have you lost weight? You look excellent. It's been so long since the last time we spoke.
Do we see Rowan at all? Or is it just his...
Rowan is now
voice?
behind you, chatting to the door.
Ah.
Yes, they were most helpful, although, at a further point, Murphy has been spelled to not allow entry.
I
had to trick the magic to get in here.
I hope it wasn't too much of a trouble.
Sorry about that, Murphy. I did not realize I would be actually traveling through your mouth.
Oh, he's a bit touchy about that.
Yeah, apparently I lied to him. It was only half intentional.
You aren't the first amongst us to have used a keyhole as a way of passing between various doors and things like that. The Fae are a mischievous bunch.
So, can we use the portal now?
You have at least 1 or 2 more chambers to go. Depending on...
This isn't it.
Is it a Tuesday?
Is it a Tuesday?
If you think about it, no, it's not Tuesday.
It is not Tuesday.
Were all 3 of the moons out when you were outside previously?
There's only 2 moons.
Out or total?
Total.
There are 3 moons total.
Yeah, Calvin, don't you know there's 3 moons?
Pretty sure there's 2 moons.
There's 2 moons
There are
out.
2 moons out.
There's only 2 moons out. There's 3 moons total.
The third one hasn't risen yet.
There was 2 out.
Excellent. Then there should only be 2 rooms to go from here. If it was a Tuesday, there perhaps would be anywhere between 5 to 8, depending on the season.
Why do people hate
houses
Tuesdays
are-
that much?
That math makes sense to me. And Thorn's gonna go to the right door because that's the one they picked.
Best of luck.
Is this door locked too?
This door is not locked.
Good, I only have one more Misty Step.
So you push this door open, and this one, as you walk out into the room, very different. So here you are in what pretty much looks to be like a forest, but where there underneath the trees is just this intense carpet of various toadstools, mushrooms, and funguses. That's just, as far as the eye can see, in this variety of colors: dark purples, reds, oranges, blues, everything, all different colored funguses, just sort of rolling in a carpet away from you. And there's a pathway that sort of snakes through them into the trees.
I see this and push past Thorn and just like take off down the path.
You start skipping down the path.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm just like, oh, this is great.
As you're skipping down the path in front of everybody. As you get a good like 50 feet down the path, you suddenly see one of the little mushrooms start to shake a little bit, and then it stands up and turns around, and you can realize that this is a little like humanoid mushroom.
Oh, hi there.
It waves up at you, and as it's waving, you see the little frills on the side of its head like open up, and a little bit of this fine mist sort of settles out from underneath it.
Like close to me, or like
Yeah, like it's wafting all around it as it's waving to you.
Oh, look, the little mushroom's making a cloud at Valen.
Does anything bad happen?
Valen, come back!
I think I would, if I don't like instantly like fall over, like unable to breathe, I'd be like, who are you?
And then, like a minute later, you feel some of them sort of. You feel some of the little spores touch onto your skin, and after a moment, you feel yourself breathing them in. And a weird second later, you can feel like you're just better connected to all the mushrooms around you. Like you better understand them. After a moment, you start to notice like different things about them. When you look at it, the mushroom that was standing up waving at you, its face is still fairly flat. But you can actually start to understand its expressions a little bit more, and you can see that it looks happy to see you as it waves its little hand. And you're like, "Who are you?" And it goes, "We are the Myconid."
It's nice to meet you. What? Who is the Myconid?
We are the Myconid. And as it waves its arm, you see several of the other mushrooms start popping up around you. There are a couple different sizes. There's ones that are basically about the size of about a foot tall, up to this one, which is about up to your chest. This is definitely the largest of them. And you can see that there's
so
little
many
bits
friends.
The Myconid would be most interested in being friends.
Valen, we are kind of in the middle of something.
Oh, you're right. Have you guys seen any like weird glyph or something carved anywhere?
Is it
Made of metal?
Yes, made of unpleasant rocks.
Yeah, that. Do you
And
know where that
burns.
is?
It burns to the touch. The Myconid has seen this, yes.
If you show us where it is, we're here to get rid of it.
There are others with it.
Other like glyphs or other people?
Other creatures that are not the Myconid and are not you.
Do they look like big angry snake people?
What are snake people?
Fair. No, that's right. That checks.
They refuse to share rapport with us. We are unable to hear them. And when the Myconid attempted to become friends, they hurt the Myconid.
Well, we'll
Fuck
protect
them.
Yeah, we'll protect you. Show us where they are.
Give me a persuasion check.
I am not good at that.
I was like, your 3 charisma-based people are not Or 3 high charisma people are not out there.
I got a 12.
A 12. We could show you. The Myconid could show you where they are, but could you help the Myconid?
Yeah, like what do you need?
The other creatures that are not the Myconid and not you have brought in poisonous materials that hurt the Myconid. If you could remove this poison, the Myconid could help you.
That seems fair. I mean, if there's other things with the glyph, it's probably evil too, so we'll probably have to get rid of them.
The Myconid would appreciate that.
Can the rest of us understand what the Myconid are saying?
None of you went with Alan, so no.
You just see Valen talking to mushrooms.
If you got closer, did any of you get closer to Valen?
No, because I'm used to Valen talking to mushrooms, and I just assume Valen's gonna tell us what's happening at some point.
Flip is used to doing weird things in the woods with Valen. Flip will walk up and seeing that Valen hasn't just flopped over on the ground dead. Flip will walk up next to them and be like, "What's going on, Valen?"
As you do so, for a second, you feel this weird stinging sensation as you breathe in some of the spores, and then a moment later, you too notice that the features of the creatures become far more distinct, and you can see that they're making expressions, and there's several of them are turning to you with curiosity. Greetings, other. Are you part of this being?
Oh, I mean, not exactly, but we do share space in this world.
This is my
Many
friend
things
Flip.
share space. This is a Flip. Greetings, Flip. We are the Myconid.
Happy to meet you.
Twit is gonna start following out to where Flip and Valen are.
Is this one also part of you?
They're a friend.
We help each other.
How can we help the Myconid?
The Myconid are currently very sick. And you can, as it says that, several of them walk forward and they hold their arms out. You see these deep purple burns in their arms. The creatures bring with them things that hurt the Myconid. If you remove it, the Myconid would be happy again and productive.
We all like happy mushrooms.
See, Flip, we need to help them. Whoever made the glyph is still here and also hurting the Myconid. And I don't like that.
Weren't the glyphs supposed to be good and protective?
No, the glyphs keep... Twid, where have you been?
I thought the glyphs got put in to keep people from coming through, but...
They got put in to keep the Fae out.
Somebody broke in and they're trying to keep the Fae out now.
Someone broke in and said squatters' rights when they did not, in fact, have squatters' rights. But instead of just saying it, they said it with fire.
And they said it like squatters.
Yes. The Myconid was minding its own business when they broke through the wall. They were not welcome in our mushroom garden, but they dug into it. It was most unpleasant. We attempted to share rapport with them and be friends, but they grew mad and hurt the Myconid.
Well, don't worry. We will protect the Myconid.
The Myconid appreciate your help.
Yeah, I feel like for Valen, talking to mushrooms would not... It's just like another day.
Yeah, you're like, this seems normal.
Just another Tuesday.
Thank God it's not Tuesday. Can you point us where we might find them? Like, where did they go?
The Myconid will show you. Come
I
this
feel
way.
like I waved down Calvin and Thorn, like, come on.
And the Myconid starts to walk away. Several of them just go back to slumping back down and turning back into normal mushroom patches. But the one that you're talking to that's taller and another small puffball mushroom next to it start to walk in the direction.
They're going to show us where the glyph is, and maybe also some snakes, people.
There are Yuan-Ti here?
They don't know because they don't really have a word for them, but I think it probably will be them.
I mean, if it's whoever put the glyph in, then we're killing them regardless.
Or it's another dragon, in which case we're going to die.
Or maybe they're just sad bummer mushrooms.
I sincerely hope it is not another dragon, as much as I would love to kill one.
So you follow the myconid, and it leads you through the little mushroom forest, several times encouraging you not to touch specific mushrooms.
Are they like mushrooms from the bad side of town?
The myconid knows that these mushrooms are unpleasant to those who have physical forms like yourself.
Oh, well, thank you for protecting us.
The myconid sees great value in our friendship and rapport. And so it moves you through the forest, and it's actually a pretty decently large chamber down here. Like, it's a little surprising that there's so much under the Barrow. This itself could probably fill more than the space that the Barrow had on the surface. Lead you through, and eventually you come to the edge of the mushroom forest. You can see that down below there is another tunnel that seems to lead off that has that same archway across it, but not too far from it in the actual stone surface of the cave itself. Something has burrowed through the wall. And it has this rough, like, there's bits and chunks of rock still left strewn about, and there's like a bit of murky mud and like damp soil like spread across around the outside of it. And you can see beyond that tunnel, someone has set up what looks to be like a rough hut that is kind of plopped right in the middle of this little clearing.
Is that where they came through, Myconid?
That is where the unknown creatures came through, yes. And what hurts us is in that hut.
I'm gonna head down and investigate the hut.
Hell yeah.
Are you stealthing at all, or are you just walking right up to the hut?
I'm gonna stealth down.
I'll also try to stealth down, but I have disadvantage, so we'll see how this goes.
All right, so give me some stealth checks.
Nope. I got a 3 with a nat 1.
Ooh,
I
that's not
fell
great.
down the hill.
15 for flip.
Ooh. Well, the nat 1's sort of going to make that more complicated.
You were trying to stealth, but you're just talking to the mushroom the whole time, and so you're not really being stealthy. It's like Valen tiptoeing, but talking at full volume.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I try to like go around the other side, so Valen works as like a distraction.
If you purposely are like, oh, Valen's making a lot of noise, I'm going to go away from Valen, you could sort of hide yourself and let Valen just sort of deal with whatever is waiting for Valen.
Because I think you would know by now, Valen is not stealthy at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think with my 15, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Yeah, so you slip off to the side, and you sort of crouch from, like, there's, like, still little bits of mushroom out here. You crouch from, like, bit to bit of mushroom, and you're much quieter, whereas Valen, you're still talking as you head down the hill, and you definitely very clearly let out that you're present. After a moment, you hear a from within the hut, and the door, boom, slams open, and this large creature comes trundling out on these big legs, and the best thing I could use to describe it is essentially an Udyug from Final Fantasy. So it's like a large, bulbous body with legs, and then it's got these big vines that come up out of its head. And then in the middle is just this giant maw in the middle of all the arms. And it comes, and as it does so, you're just seeing this purplish, like, ooze comes splat, splat, splat out of its mouth.
Kill it with fire!
Disgusting. I would like to try to kill it.
How far away are the rest of us?
The rest of you are probably about another 30 feet back at the edge, and then you're 30 feet from Valen, and then Valen, you're probably about 25 feet or so from the hut, which now busts open, and one of these creatures has just come out of the hut. It immediately snaps its head towards you as its little tentacles snap in the air, and one of them slams the ground next to it. And we're gonna roll for initiative next week.
Cliffhanger.
What
Cliffhanger.
size creature? Well, what is it like?
It's
medium?
large sized.
Okay.
So, for all of you who joined us tonight, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you come along with us on our adventure. If you'd like to see more of our adventures, we are going to be running on Wednesday, part 2 of Proclaimers of Heroes, a tabletop game set in ancient Greece, powered by Cortex. And then you can join us back here at 7:30 next week as we continue our adventures. If you've enjoyed us, definitely give us a follow so you can stay up to date on new things that we're doing, and you can learn more about the lore and the world of Obra in our Twitter. Thank you so much, and stay safe out there.